Donna carelessly tossed the yellow dress on the chair by the open window. The room had felt so stuffy and stale when she first came in, but a soft breeze made it more livable now. It was nothing fancy, but maybe she could talk to the manager later and get a better suite. Outside the window, parked in the bright sunshine, was a brand new car. The large sedan was the newest model available, with all the latest features and gadgets. She looked at it with a satisfied little smile. The car was very nice. The dress she now held in her hand was from the newest line by the hottest French designer. Her shoes were the latest trend in New York City. Nothing but the best would do. Donna would not settle for anything less. Her husband, William, was in the shower while she got herself dressed for dinner. The brochure had boasted of fine dining in an elegant but relaxed atmosphere. She sure hoped so. So far, the resort was a little bit of a letdown. Too much relaxed, not enough elegant to suit her tastes. Glancing back out at the car, she noticed something odd. A bright blue and black bird perched on the hood with something shiny in its mouth. It looked for all the world like a diamond necklace. The jewels glittered and glinted in the dying light. Hearing the water still running in the shower, she stepped out onto the balcony to get a better look. It sure looked like diamonds. The bird let out a harsh caw, and the glittering jewelry fell from its beak and slid down the hood of the car to land in the gravel. Donna dashed out the door. No sense in letting such a pretty piece of jewelry lie in the dirt, she told herself. Outside her room, she tried to calm her breathing and slow her step. She didn't want to appear to be rushed or suspicious to the other guests. She calmly walked through the lobby and out to the sedan. She saw no one else around. Good, no one else will take it then, she thought smugly. Just as she had seen from her balcony, something shiny lay just in front of the bumper. Her shoes crunched on the loose surface as she walked around to the front of the car. Cautiously, Donna bent down and reached for the jewelry. It was further under the car than she first thought. She had to kneel on the pale gravel to reach it. Excitement made her breath come faster as she neared it. Now that she was closer, she was certain that was made of diamonds. What wonderful luck! She reached out to take it, no longer caring who was about or who saw her kneeling in the dirt. All she cared about was the necklace. Just as her fingers brushed the cool silver of the chain, a sharp black beak lunged out from behind the tire and pecked her hand. Donna gave a startled gasp and jerked her hand back as the magpie came bobbing over for his prize and snapped it back up. With a great shaking of its glossy feathers, the large bird hopped further underneath the car, out of reach of the woman trying to steal his trinket. Another grating cry, and it slid out into the parking lot and spread its wings. Nursing her now bruised hand, Donna hurried to follow the creature. It hopped and made small, half-flying lunges as it headed away from the woman. She did not want to let the bird escape with such an expensive prize. She could already imagine it around her own throat, sparkling like the stars in the sky. How beautiful it would be. The bird moved further away from her, and she followed it again. Over and over the scene played out. Donna crept closer, and the bird danced just out of reach. Soon Donna found herself by the edge of the forest. The cruel magpie fluttered up onto a low-hanging branch and shook its feathers again. Donna was now completely focused on the bird. She moved forward slowly. She never even noticed the change in her surroundings. She did not notice the summer green give way to winter bleak, or the warm breeze become a biting wind. Closer and closer she came to the trees, where the bird sat staring at her with beady little black eyes. She could have sworn there was an intelligence in them as the bird cocked its head and opened its mouth to croak out its horrible voice. The necklace tumbled from the open beak and right into her pale hands. Donna couldn't believe her good fortune. She had caught the necklace right from the bird's mouth. She was so excited with the triumph that it wasn't until the second time the coughing noise came from behind her that she even realized she was not alone. Turning slowly, she found herself looking right into the eyes of an impossible dog-like creature. Two more came around behind her before she could react. It barked once. Nausea hit me. I was in my dark room again. The greedy woman and the wicked bird were fading like the image from an old television screen. I was beginning to see a pattern to these hallucinations, or visions, or whatever you wanted to call them. It was those dogs. Of course, dogs was not the right word for them. They looked almost like a Doberman Pinscher, but so much larger. There was something strange about the skin as well. It was almost like there was no skin on them at all. It looked like the muscle was bare of any covering. What kind of animal could live like that? I really had no interest in finding the answer to that question. I needed to get out of here, get to a hospital, get checked out. Of course, that was easier said than done. I still had no working car and no phone. I made it halfway down the stairs before the memory of that dog-like thing rushing up at the woman froze me in my tracks. I had 2 choices. 3 if you counted standing in the middle of the staircase until the end of days. I could go back up the stairs and hide in the shabby little room with the possessed lamp, or I could keep moving down the stairs and hope like hell that there was nothing nasty waiting for me in the lobby. I scolded myself for my irrational fear. There was no devil dogs, no possessed objects, no real danger. I was having a minor break with reality. That's all. I felt tile under my foot and was so surprised my foot almost slipped out from under me. I was back in the lobby. I waited for the growling or that horrible coughing bark, but only heard the sounds I was hearing when I checked in. I heard the squeak of a door behind me and scurried around the counter to see if anyone was there. At least I told myself that's why I scuttled like a goosed crab. Once again, there was no one there. It didn't matter. I was going to my car, and that was final. I didn't care if 20 people came in at that very moment. I was leaving. My footsteps sounded even more hollow than before as I crossed the empty tiles to the front door. I found myself counting them as I walked. After 12, I was close enough to the door to open it. But there was a problem. The door opened in, and I was not willing to touch the handle. I was afraid that one more vision and there'd be nothing left of my sanity to save, even if I did make it back into town. I pondered this dilemma for a moment. Maybe if I grabbed the handle with my shirt, it would not be the same as grabbing it with my bare hand. If it was direct skin contact with the object, wrapping my shirt around my head would stop it. If it was any contact with the item, I was screwed. As always, my mind wandered. Why did the door open in? Didn't fire codes require that doors in public buildings open out? Or was that just a convention and not a rule? Or did it only apply to non-possessed buildings? Stop it! A high-pitched voice, obviously belonging to a child, squealed from behind me, almost ending any need for leaving because my heart nearly stopped. I whirled around to find the owner of the voice and staggered against the side table next to the door. The table held a lovely fake flower arrangement that started to tip as soon as my leg touched it. Once again, not thinking, I grabbed the vase before it hit the floor, and surprisingly, nothing strange happened. I was still in the poorly lit lobby and was still myself. I allowed myself to sigh with relief. Maybe whatever had been happening was over? I tried to set the vase back on the table, but it kept tipping. Right in the center of the table, where the vase had been, was a pack of playing cards. Annoyed and made bold by my success with the flowers, I simply swept the cards aside. I regretted it quickly. The tingle started in my fingertips and quickly moved up my arm. It was no longer night, but late afternoon again.